up, y'all? It's me, Erica, and we are down here. Peace, y'all. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, and we are down here, honey, to talk about the Real Housewives of New Jersey. The first episode came on the other night. I don't remember. And I watched it last night. Um, it was good for a first episode. Already conflict, first episode between Jennifer and Dolores. Now there's another Jennifer now. They've introduced 3 new housewives. I said on Twitter last night, if they can introduce 3 new housewives, potential housewives. Actually, I think there's 2 already in the intro. There's Jennifer Flesher. There's another Danielle. There's a Danielle and Rachel. Now I have to remember. I think Danielle is the blonde, and then Jennifer Fleischer is the she's a little older, or she looks a little older, and then Rachel I feel like is the one with the dark hair, who says she's Jewish and Italian. And then Danielle is the one who just is, she's blonde. She used to be brunette. She's blonde now. And she says she's in control of her household and all of this stuff. She has the 4-year-old. Yeah, that is Danielle, the 4-year-old and the 7-year-old. And her walking Adonis husband. The 4-year-old is already giving me little personality. The cameras are there. They're going to love it. She put her middle finger up. She was like, "Why are you doing that?" I was like, "Come on, little Melania." The girls look amazing. I was like, look at Teresa's daughters, so beautiful. I was like, look at Melania. Oh my God, just every year they just grow up. And then it was a pretty good episode. So let's get started. Everybody's back. The intro, that's the first thing I want to say, is the intro where they do the cast shot. The center person is Teresa on that, right? But they have Teresa in it's an old picture of her, and I don't know why they won't do another picture of her just wearing black so she can be in the middle with an updated picture. That old ass dress, that old ass hairstyle, that old ass hair color, just some mess. I was like, why don't they change that? So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. Like I said, if they can introduce 3 new women on this show with I think it's already four women: Jennifer, Jackie, Teresa, Margaret, Melissa. Jennifer, Jackie, Teresa, Margaret, Melissa. It's already 5. So it's like 8 women on there now. So if they can do that on New Jersey, they must do that on Potomac. I don't know where. I think a lot of people are trying, like the people are tired of Potomac. They really are. Y'all are going to have to do something over there. And I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, I hope that they're listening to the people who are reviewing the show, reading the comments, reading the tweets, because a lot of people are just really tired with the dynamics over there on Potomac and the friend group. They're tired of that combination, and there needs to be a shakeup. There needs to be some people brought on there. Candace needs to bring a person on there. Wendy needs to bring a person on there. There needs to be other people on there besides Ashley, Karen, Giselle, and Robin, because they run with the same template every year, and it doesn't make for a good season, and it's getting worser by the season. Okay, so let's get back to New Jersey. We're happy New Jersey is back. Melissa, you're gonna need a storyline, boo-boo. I'm sorry. Melissa and Joe, your storyline being that you're in conflict with Teresa, it's a wrap. You guys are gonna have to come with something else. I don't know. Antonia getting her driver's license is not enough, or getting a car is not enough. You getting your kitchen done, not enough. You're going to have to come with something else, Melissa and Joe Gorga. Y'all going to have to come with something else besides being in conflict with Teresa. Last night, Teresa on a podcast, I don't know, I think she has a podcast with somebody else. It's called Namaste Bitches. Bitch, I'm so annoyed right now when I think about podcasts. Anyways, let me see. What did she say? What did Teresa say last night? And she really let Melissa have it. Oh, here it goes. Teresa says, this was on her podcast. I think did I save the audio? I didn't save the audio, but here it is transcribed. It says, this is what Teresa said. I gave birth on the show. I went to prison on the show. I got divorced on the show. I got married on the show. I buried my parents on the show. This is what I've done. And her story is, I didn't return a text message. That's her storyline. We are not the same. Never have, never will. Baby, it's nothing else to say. It's nothing else to say. And for the record, like this, like what Teresa has shared on the Housewives, was she just like birth, prison, divorce, remarried, buried my parents? And what have you shared but your conflict with Teresa? Girl, it's the jig is up, Melissa and Joe, the Gorgas. I'm sorry, the jig is up. It is. It is. And then the way that Melissa was in that kitchen acting when Margaret went back and told her what Teresa said after they met with each other. She was like, he said that I was insecure because I was trying to tell everybody what Teresa. Yeah, but you weren't saying it the way that you weren't saying it, as if you were like, hey guys, just make sure we're not saying anything about Teresa and Louis. You said it in a shady way. You were trying to be shady, and all that stuff. So no, the jig is up. It is. The jig is up. Okay. All right, so let's get it. All right, so Dolores has a new boyfriend. His name is Paulie. She's smitten and gushy over this guy, very happy. Frank comes over. He brings they're eating sushi. She is talking about how Paulie is old fashioned, and I guess he's just not comfortable with Frank and Dolores's relationship. And Frank is basically saying, I moved out of the house because, Dolores is like kind of packing her clothes, I guess, to take some stuff over to Paulie's house. And he was like, I moved out of here so that he wouldn't feel uncomfortable. And looks like you moving over there. And she was like, no, stay over there where you are. Stay over there where you are. And he says he just wants them to be able to be comfortable around each other and around the children. They all to be like a family, like he was with David, I guess. But this guy is apparently old fashioned. But I feel like I feel two ways about this. I feel like, one, Dolores has a boyfriend now, Frank, so y'all are going to have to learn some new boundaries. Two, I don't feel that it's fair that you completely change the relationship with Frank when y'all have always been cordial and cool and been able to be around each other. I think it's odd for you to completely change how the relationship looks, the level of comfort, him going places with you. I think, but she wants to change it. She says, now I gave my time to everybody else, and now I'm giving my time only to Paulie, and this is how I want to be right now in this relationship. So it might change, and Dolores, so it is what it is. She said, don't talk to her about Jennifer. So her and Jennifer have conflict, and that comes to a head at the end of the episode. We get to Melissa. Melissa is planning an 80s roller jam skating party, which was very cute. Everybody participated except for Louie. She invited everyone. She said she doesn't want to leave anyone out. And Joe was like, well, they leave you out. So Teresa is not allowing Melissa to be in her wedding. It is a clear draw in the sand. It is a clear, I don't fuck with you. We don't fuck with each other. And that's the one thing, like, I really want them, like, Joe and Melissa are going to have to come up with something else. That's just it. You being in constant conflict with Teresa, knowing, like, literally knowing Teresa doesn't like you. Even when she was talking to Louis, when Teresa was talking to Louis, she tells Louis, if you did, I hope y'all caught it. She was like, I don't even think it's my brother. I think it's Melissa. She's been doing that forever. It's never Joey. It's always Melissa. And he just follows. Remember how she told Melissa you can control how your husband reacts and stuff like that? And remember, so it's always Melissa's fault. So it's clear that Teresa will never like Melissa. After not just liking her because she has that weird relationship that mothers have with sons, Teresa and Joe used to have that type of relationship. And I feel like it's like before Melissa came on the show, she already didn't like her. But now you're on this show with me acting like, girl, I don't want you. I don't even like you. And I think Teresa's just never going to like Melissa. And that's it. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. She's just never going to like Melissa. She isn't. And they need to hang it up. Melissa and Joe need to stop acting like they're trying to work on the relationship with Teresa. Teresa's not going to come up off that. She said, she brings up the text message that she invited her after not allowing her to be in the wedding or saying that she couldn't be in the wedding or she's not going to be in the wedding. Teresa sends her a text message saying to come to her 50th birthday party. They went to Tulum. Apparently they had a really great time. Jennifer went with her. So I was like, okay, Jennifer. Well, I saw Jennifer in the wedding. I was like, okay, so Jennifer and Teresa must be really cool, right? And then it's also odd that Dolores and Teresa have known each other forever, and Dolores and Jennifer are into it. So she's saying we're not that close. And then they were like, she has her people now. The juxtaposition of Melissa and Joe, like always talking about Teresa and complaining about Teresa, to Teresa in her house with Louis and his family for her birthday dinner and them having a good time. It's like, yeah, Joe should be there. I don't know. I really truly believe the bottom line is Teresa does not like that they came on the show. She consistent. That's something that it keeps coming up. And I think that's it. That's it. Jennifer, I put klutz. She's a klutz. Her mother, they think she has an evil eye on her. She's always breaking something, and she believes that it's coming from Dolores. Jennifer reminds me a lot of Candace, a sensitive, smart mouth. She always got something to say. She always has a comeback. She's not afraid to back down. She said that she's tired of being. What she say? She's tired of being run over or something like that. So she's not gonna let the people run over her. Maybe the way she cussed Dolores out. The way she cussed Dolores out at the end of that episode, oh girl, it was a mess. So she said she just feels like Dolores dismisses her and she doesn't care about her the way that she cares about her. They have a different definition of friendship. This is my thing, because somebody on Twitter was asking, like, what's the beef between Dolores and Jennifer? And I said, Dolores is a tough old broad and Jennifer is a sensitive smart mouth. And when she starts crying and doing all that crying and stuff, when she does all that crying and stuff, Dolores is not here for that crying stuff. She is not. Stop all that crying, stop all that sensitivity, stop all that stuff. I'm not with that shit. So yeah, that was my description. It's like she doesn't, the things that Jennifer cries about, Dolores is not with that. She doesn't care. And Dolores said she kind of deserved what Margaret delivered to her last season about Bill Aiden. So, okay, so sorry about that. So I think that's the reason why they're just not getting along. The things that Jennifer cries about, Dolores doesn't give a shit about. She dismisses her. She doesn't baby her. And she kind of said that she deserved what Margaret gave to her. The other girl, Danielle, is that her name? Rachel said the same thing. She said it was kind of being hypocritical. Do y'all think it was hypocritical for Margaret, for Jennifer to be so adamant about her being a cheater and cheating on her husband and taking that dig at her all the time, and then for Margaret to come back and be like, how are you taking a dig at me for being a cheater when you're married to a cheater? That's what happened last year. And Dolores apparently said that you kind of deserve that. So that's how Jennifer feels what's going on with her and Dolores. Dolores just doesn't care about her. So Teresa's having her 50, she's turning 50 years old. She said she doesn't mind. She's turning 50. At first she did, but she doesn't look 50. She actually looks pretty good for her age. I think she looks, I don't think anything's wrong with Teresa. Teresa has a nice little body and everything, a head full of hair. So she didn't, she said meeting Louis' family has been a dream come true. I guess everybody is getting along. I could even when her Louis' father came in the door and hugged Teresa, and he said, "Oh, Teresa," like the way he said it. It just seemed like, and I'm kind, and I was looking at Teresa, and I was like, "That's good. I'm glad that she has that." Especially with the conflict that she has with her brother and Melissa consistently. I'm glad that I was genuinely happy to see Teresa in like a good space and that she's working on her anger management, which is good. She shares with us that her father had a bad temper, reactive to things that made him upset. She says she does the same thing. He hits the table, throws things. She learned that from him and she wants to unlearn that. So she's seeing a psychotherapist for that. So we'll see. And and now that Louis' mother is a therapist, so she's like, they talk about their feelings. So now she's in a different kind of family dynamic. And when she was talking to Margaret, after she invited Margaret over, and he was kind of telling her, like, listen, you're not even letting her talk, right? There's some men who would not even, they would just let them go back and forth and let the conflict just keep rising instead of actually mediating. So he was actually kind of mediating, which I kind of appreciate that, but not in so much of Teresa's favor, but kind of being fair, right? So Margaret said that he is having an impact on Teresa. I was surprised that Teresa apologized to Margaret. I was even surprised that she walked up to Margaret and she was like, and I think when she mentioned that, her and Margaret shared that moment about sending the wreath out to the ocean for her mother. I think that's what keeps Teresa like stuck with kind of Margaret, kind of giving Margaret a chance because she did extend that genuine gesture. So we'll see. She says, it's not my brother, it's Melissa. He's just following what she's doing. And Louis said she should have called him a bitch boy a long time ago. So all of Louis' family comes over. The daughters are there. They give Teresa a present, a bracelet, Tiffany bracelet. And she says, did I tell you what can you tell them what I said my wish was? And they were like, that we don't fight, that the siblings don't fight. And then they were like, oh, we're not going to do that. We're different. Girls are different. Girl, no, they not. No, they're not. But she said that that was her hope, that the siblings are not fighting. I hope you guys are not going through what me and my brother are going through and stuff like that. And she was like, what did she say? Oh, I have sisters now, talking about Louis' sisters. I think there were three of them, or two of them, and the mom, and then the dad, and then his son, and then the four daughters. All right, then Melissa's party. Did you see Marge Senior? She talking about, I'm not gonna get on roller skates. I'm not gonna get on roller skates. Margaret was like, you can barely walk. Girl, she was looking cute. They had on their gazelles and their crimped hair. They look cute. They're fluorescent. It was so cute. Everybody looked cute. Everybody looked cute. Everybody had their windbreakers on, their like sweatsuits and stuff. It was cute. It was cute. Everybody was dressed really cute. Dolores comes in there happy with her skates, and Frank was like, "You really have skates?" And she was like, "Yeah." And then I guess Frank is seeing some girl. They on again, off again. Brittany. She's 33 and Frank is 58 years old. Child, a mess. A mess. And I'm like, what do they be talking about? But apparently he used to train Brittany and Rachel. And they used to, do the bodybuilding, fitness competition, not fitness, bikini contests and stuff like that. Fitness competitions. I guess that's what fitness competitions to show your bodies off. And Frank, just like he was helping Teresa, he helped these two girls too. And they're both now on the show. Well, Brittany's not on the show, but she's making appearances. I had never seen the girl before in my life. I was like, who is this girl Frank is with? But apparently, he's bringing this girl on the show. Evan and Jackie show up. Did you see when Jackie told Rachel. Was it Rachel? Yeah, she told Rachel. I got to get the names right because it's three new girls, child. Um, when she told Rachel, um, you didn't even speak to me. You didn't get any eye contact with me. Girl, what? It's a lot going on. And there's cameras here. Everybody's arguing. It was really like so. I wonder how many cameras they have in there because it was so many things going on. I was like, girl, like stuff going on at the exact same time because there's so many like pockets of people talking. And I was like, Jackie, what? Now, Jackie, I'm telling you, with these three new girls, you're going to have to, I don't know what you're going to have to do. Last season, you had with Evan, and no, that was before Teresa with Evan, messing with Evan. Y'all, you're going to have to do something. I don't know if you feel like you're going to drown out, but somebody posted a clip of Jennifer saying that that she was boring and or boring. What she say? She was boring, and she was like, "Who, me?" And Jennifer goes, "Who, me? Yeah. What did I stutter? I'm talking about you." Ooh, Jennifer. When I tell you Jennifer Aiden is a Kiki to me, she reminds me a lot of Candace, a lot like the same type of like sensitive smart mouth, sensitive smart mouth. And then they showed that clip of Teresa calling Margaret a stupid bitch. Ah, stupid bitch. When I tell you, Teresa was hot at the reunion. I need to go back and watch the reunion. She was so mad. She really acted a fool. I know when she went back and saw that, she was probably like, damn. But Teresa is the type of person, she'll look back on something and be like, I was so right to do that. Was justified. You know what I'm saying? But she said she actually looked at that and did not like she was like, I was real bad. I did not like how I was coming off last season. When Teresa comes in to the skating rink, she speaks to Joe. Joey's like, oh, he was like, oh, there you are. And then that was it. And they didn't have no small talk or anything like that. He kind of started to walk away, and she was like, you invited me to your party and you didn't speak to me. See, Teresa, this is where like I be trying to like Teresa, she does like it's a lot of things that are unreasonable, like the things that she decides to be upset about. Joe is not talking to her. He's mad at her because he feels like she drew a line in the sand with the damn not including Melissa in the wedding. So he's upset about that. He was like, you showing who your family is or whatever. So he did speak to her. She said he didn't. Teresa says she's in therapy for her anger management. Danielle. So Teresa introduces Danielle. Danielle is a big personality. She's loud and funny. She reminds her of her. She's from Staten Island, I think. She said she was from Staten Island. Was she from Staten Island? Yeah, I think she said she's from Staten Island. She's the one that has the husband and the 4-year-old and the 7-year-old, and the husband she called Adonis because she said she's just like, oh my God, my husband is so fine and all this other stuff. So that's her. Jennifer is avoiding Dolores at the roller rink. She doesn't think that it's warranted that, why she's acting this way. She was like, girl, we're not in high school. This is not high school. Come up and speak to me. We'll get past it or whatever. But Jennifer is like, no, I'm not talking to her. We're not cool. We're two different type of people. So she's cool with that. Rachel, yeah, Rachel's born in 1991. Margaret was like, I got underwear older than you. Cause I'm like 1991. Damn. Melissa introduces Rachel. She introduces her to Dolores, and that's what I thought was weird because Melissa brought Rachel on, but Rachel knows Brittany because Frank used to train both of them. So everybody knows each other. So Dolores knows Frank because Frank used to train her. Dolores knows Rachel because Frank used to train her. That's it. So Dolores speaks to Bill. She gives Bill a hug. She doesn't speak to Jennifer, right? She says that Joe showed them, like they all sit down. They're like sitting down like at the end of little chairs or whatever. Hold on. So Joe says basically that's, Teresa, they're sitting down and Joe was like, you know what she did? She didn't include Melissa in her wedding. She was like, yeah. She was like, didn't she draw a line in the sand with that? They were both, Frank and Dolores were like, yeah, she did. And he was like, and that's just it. And he was like, you've seen the things. She was like, yeah, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things. And that's basically where it is. Again, Joe and Melissa are going to have to get a new storyline, and other than being in a conflict with Teresa. It's a wrap. It's over with. It's over with. It really is. They went to Tulum for Teresa's birthday. Teresa and Jennifer, they said they had a really good time, good vibes only. So that's when Teresa goes over and speaks to Margaret. She invites her over, and she tells Margaret, she was like, I'm going to invite you over to my house. Margaret was like, what, to bury me in the backyard? Margaret was like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, we can come over. She's like, I want to invite you over, have a conversation about what happened, have a, this and that. So she's like, okay. So she goes over there. So the new girls, Jennifer Flesher, I think that's her name. So we're going to have two Jennifers now, Rachel and Danielle. So Dolores wants to do a calendar with all the husbands for charity, sexy calendar, and the same charity that she did the softball game with, or the baseball game with last season. And she's trying to get Jennifer's attention. Jennifer keeps, walking away from her. Jennifer Aiden keeps walking away from her. And so Dolores goes, you're not going to walk away from me again. Come over here. I'm trying to invite you to something. I'm trying to invite your husband to something. And so she tells, she says, she tells everybody what she wants to do. I want all the husbands. We're going to do it at Margaret's house. All the husbands come out. We're going to have a calendar shoot and blah, blah, blah. So then Jennifer goes, is that all you wanted to say to me? Okay. And then she walks off. And then Jennifer goes, you want to invite me and you have my husband for charity, use my husband for charity, but you don't have nothing else to say to me? So Jennifer believes that that Dolores owes her some apology or something like that. So she goes over there. I guess she tells Bill about it because he's going to be the sexy doctor. Dolores thinks it's very high school, the way that Jennifer is acting. Jennifer does give high school. She does give high school. I think the way she acts, she talks about, bullying and stuff like that in her school years and things like that. So it does give me like high school. It does. But I don't know that it's just a mix of personalities. It's always been like that between Jennifer and Dolores. Dolores is not here for all that crying shit, period. And that's it. She's one of those women. I'm not here doing all that. What you crying for? Get over it and stuff like that, So Margaret ends up falling at the skating rink and actually breaks her wrist. She keeps saying she broke her arm. Girl, I wonder where it was. Maybe, I don't know if it was a wrist. Maybe it was a fracture in the arm. But she had like a brace going just from like the top, like her fingers down to like in the middle right here. So it wasn't really like, I don't know if she broke her arm. She kept saying, I broke my arm. But she does expect an apology out of Teresa. You see Joe is in there trying to put Margaret's hair in a ponytail because she can't do anything because her arm, or her right arm, is broke, or right wrist or something. I don't know. Teresa is explaining how she is just she has reactive anger. She's just like her dad, and she's working on herself. When I heard Teresa ask Margaret, do you think you know the real Teresa? I felt like that was the real Teresa. Like in that very moment, I was like, wow. I like the way she asked her, the way her voice was like regular. It wasn't that high pitched voice that, that Teresa talks with. But it was just a regular voice that she had. And I was like, that, like in that very moment, that felt like the real Teresa. And she tells Margaret, do you think you know the real Teresa? And she was like, I just feel like last year was a lot. You were a lot. You did a lot. And I don't know. I felt like we were cool, but I don't know what happened. And she says, there's a side of you that is cutting and hurtful. And she's like, I didn't know who you were. And she's like, well, basically week after week, I was hearing something negative about something that came from you. And so she kept trying to talk, and then Margaret was talking, and then she kept cutting her off. And she was like, you were very rough, and it freaked us out. Joe even said it was like, it freaked us out the way that you were acting. And she's like, well, now I see a therapist. And she was like, but you are a grudge holder, and I just want to be sure. She is a grudge holder. She's a Taurus child. And so she's a grudge holder. We know, like, look at her, Melissa. We know she's a grudge holder. That's why I keep saying, Melissa, forget about it. Margaret brings up Melissa and Joe, and she was like, no. She was like, because do you think it was displaced anger? She was like, when I was sending those text messages to Melissa, and the way that she was saying, yeah, don't, the way that she came talking shit about me basically out to you guys, and she was like, those were tests to see if, do you love me? Am I your sister? Do you really care about me? And it does give that, like, when Melissa talks about Teresa, it doesn't give a close sister-in-law feel, because they're not close sister-in-laws, and that's just it. It does give, like, I'm done with fucking with Teresa. I don't care about how she feels. And Teresa, I don't know. I feel like them being on the show is the reason why, among other things, among just not liking Melissa, is like that grudge is she's never gonna let go of it. I don't think so. She said, when we had that moment with the wreath with your mom, that was, very special to me. And I will always hold that. They're both crying at this time or tearing up or whatever. And she says, I just don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. And then Margaret said, I feel like you're still hurt. And are you doing this for yourself? Or are you doing this to make Louis happy? I was like, ooh, good, 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 good. That was good. That was good, Margaret. Because you could be doing it just to make him happy. Hopefully she is doing it for herself. And she says, no. She was like, no, I'm raw as a cucumber. She was like, did you see Margaret's face as soon as she said it? She was like, isn't that a saying? They were like, no, it's cool as a cucumber, but it could be a new saying, girl. She was like, but I'm sorry. She did. So Teresa finally apologized, honey. And she said Louis is having an impact on Teresa, but change doesn't happen overnight. People don't change overnight. She's just looking for change behavior. So we'll see. We'll see. So they do the calendar shoot at Marge's house. Joe is a biker, honey, with his stomach hanging. Did you hear when that was Margaret. I don't care what nobody said. You couldn't see nobody's mouth and their backs were they were walking away from the camera. But somebody said, it was Margaret. I don't care. I think my puss just dried up. At your own husband, girl. I was like, Joe didn't get the baby oil. They didn't get the baby oil. All the other men had baby oil on except for Joe. They didn't put baby oil on Joe. So he was sitting on his motorcycle and they were like, cover up the stomach. They should have, I don't know, maybe should they have put a shirt on him or something? He looked okay. He didn't look that bad. He looked like an old man on a motorcycle. It's fine. It was fine to me. When I heard Margaret say, I think my puss just dried up. There's nothing. Margaret is a mess. Margaret is my favorite. I know y'all cannot stand old trout mouth Margaret, but that is my girl. I love Margaret. Rachel, no. Danielle, I'm gonna try to get their names right without like going back and looking at my notes. Danielle's husband was the gardener. Rachel's husband, who looked like Joe Budden. Even Alex said it. Shout out to Alex Rogers. He said he looked like a buff ass Joe Budden. He did. That beard, the way his beard is shaped. And his complexion too, everything. He was a lumberjack. And then Evan was a basketball player. I was like, okay, Evan, look at Evan's body. They put the baby oil on Evan's body. I think, was it Evan that came with the baby oil? I think it was him that came with the baby oil. Joe Gorga. I said, okay, Joe Gorga. He looks so good. I was like, look at him, little short self. With his, he had the hot dogs. He was the grill master. He had on like a little apron, a hat, had the hot dogs. He was cute. That was cute. He looks good. Joe's body was looking good. Joe gives the cold shoulder to Teresa again. She was like, where are the girls? And he was like, they're out there. And he like, no small talk. It's no small talk. He's literally giving cordial, like, that's it. I'm not going to be mean. I'm going to speak and that's it. And it's no other small talk. That's it. Bill is the sexy doctor. He looked good too. But Bill looks good. I mean, it was one season where I think Bill had a beard. I was like, ooh, was that like after the pandemic or something? Because he was looking good after that. But he looked okay in his sexy doctor outfit. Louis was a yoga person, I don't know, yoga. He was doing yoga because, he's all zen and stuff like that. So he did yoga. Did they rub no, they didn't put nothing on his body. They should have put something on his body. I felt like they weren't just looking at him. I felt like, oh my God, he's not posing right. I felt like he wasn't posing right. I wanted him to drop his shoulders. I was like, come on, instructor. I was like, drop your shoulders. Like, okay, Louis, whatever, girl. And then they asked Teresa did she know what a fluffer was? And she was like, one of those things with the feather on the end. No, a fluffer is somebody that gives a blowjob so the person can have a hard penis to get ready for their adult film shoot. That's what a fluffer is. She was like, is it a little thing with a little feather on it? Girl, mess. Okay, so Margaret and Melissa are off to the side. Margaret is letting Melissa and Joe know that she went over to Teresa's house. And okay, so at one point, Louis said that Melissa was insecure, the way that she was behaving, that she's behaving like an insecure woman, the way that she's going back, and the way that she's acting with Teresa. So Margaret tells Melissa that, and then Melissa was like, I'm insecure because I was trying to tell you all not to talk about Louis. I have never said anything negative. Now, I have never heard her say anything negative about Louis, even when everybody was around. If my memory serves me correctly, let me know, because I feel like Melissa has never said anything bad about Louis. But Teresa, her expectation was, when you hear people talking about my man as my sister-in-law, you should be like, don't talk about him. But we remember last year that it was Teresa's being unreasonable, because it wasn't Margaret bringing these things out, even though Teresa keeps saying that it was. The stuff was coming out about Louis. And Margaret's concern, I'm using air quotes around concern, was that we don't know who this guy is. A lot of weird things are coming out about him. And so Margaret kept bringing the things that were showing up in the blogs to the cameras. And Teresa's expectation for Melissa was to shut it down. Y'all let me know, because, Diva smokes a little bit reefer. So let me know if my memory serves me correctly. Okay. So Melissa says she doesn't give a fuck anymore. We'll see. We're going to see what Melissa's storyline is going to be this season. If it's Teresa, this should be their last season. Honestly, I'm just, let Teresa have her goddamn show, child. She said this is her show. I mean, whatever. But I said, you didn't say it like that, because she didn't. The way that she was making it seem like she was concerned and don't say anything about Louis. That's not how you said it. Anyway, Paulie shows up. Now he's gonna be the bartender. He's the Irish bar. I said Irish bartender. Gotcha. Okay, that's cute. He had on his little vest with the shamrocks on him and everything. He was making drinks. He was looking buff too. I was like, these niggas got body. I'm not into the big buff bodies, but when I tell you Joe Gorga, I was like, yes, ma'am. He looked so goddamn good. And he was ready for his photo shoot. He was. They talking about, Joe, put the hot dog in your mouth now. So Paulie comes in. He talks about how, Dolores is mushy and romantic. They were like, what? They were like, no, that's not the Dolores we know. They were like, he was like, they don't know you. And then she was like, they've never seen me like this. And yeah, so I like Dolores and her little relationship. He's talking. He can be around, not like David, who could never be around because he was more dedicated to his work. And he's a doctor, and we love to see dedicated doctors, but he was never around. Didn't want to talk about feelings, this and that. And I thought it was fucked up that Jennifer said what she said about David and Dolores amongst those women. You gonna say, and then I was like, thinking to myself, those are Dolores's. They know Dolores more than they know you, right? Both of those, Jennifer, Danielle, and motherfucking Rachel. Especially Rachel. I was like, girl, Rachel gonna go right to Dolores and tell her exactly what you said. And she did. And then I didn't appreciate Jennifer doing that, but she's in defense mode, and that's what it is. So everybody's taking shots. The photo shoot is done. They're taking shots and eating now and this and that. So Jennifer and Danielle and Rachel, or no, not Danielle. It was Jennifer, and Rachel off to the side. Jennifer was talking to Rachel about, what's going on between you and Dolores. And then she was like, well, she chastised me. She basically is not the friend I thought she was. She's, dismissing me. She doesn't care about me and this and that. And she's like, last year Margaret brought up infidelity my husband had, and Dolores felt like I kind of deserved it. And she was like, well, she said you were being a hypocrite. She's like, you are kind of being a hypocrite if you're chastising somebody for cheating and you're actually married to a cheater. And, some people, I think it's like, it's the same thing as with them coming after Wendy on Potomac, like, or any of the women, like, you coming after me about my husband and some lies about my husband or about me or whatever, but you got your own shit happening. So while you coming at me for being a cheater, you're married to a cheater. And again, Dolores felt like you kind of deserve that, right? So I just need to know she cares. And she was like, well, go talk to her. And then she was like, no, they were like, just go be vulnerable. And then Jennifer started tearing up. She's very sensitive. She started tearing up and she's like, no, this and that. So after they were done kind of talking, Rachel's the one with the dark hair. Rachel goes and she grabs Dolores. She was like, well, what's happening? What's going on? Right? So she was like, yeah, girl, she was saying they're in the kitchen, right? So it's so much shit happening. They're in the kitchen and Jennifer is over there on the side, right? In earshot of Dolores and Danielle. And Rachel. Rachel and Dolores are in the kitchen and she's telling her about, what Jennifer was just saying. And she's like, well, she keeps telling everyone about me except for me. And what she wants Dolores to do is to grab her and talk to her off the side. She doesn't want to make the initial contact. And that's where Dolores is like, this is like third grade. Why are we playing these games? Right. So she hears her talking about her and she was like, what? And then she was like, what's going on? That's Rachel. What's going on? She was like, is she talking about me? She was like, yeah, is she talking about you right now? So yeah, so she goes, so she said, Jennifer, let me holler at you for a second. So Dolores and Jennifer go off to the side finally. She was like, I was trying to talk to you twice at the skating rink and you kept walking away from me. So that's why I'm not talking to you today. You didn't want to talk to me. I'm not fucking with you, all right? So she said, you walked away from me twice. She was like, and you keep telling people that I haven't been a good friend to you. And I have. And she says, you basically jumped ship, when she took, let me tell you something. Margaret and Dolores, like this. I'm crossing my index finger and my middle finger, like a promise, like cross my fingers. That's what I'm doing. They tight like that. Margaret and Dolores. So I don't know if you're going to be able to penetrate that, Jennifer. But Jennifer said that Dolores jumped ship when that shit went down between her and Margaret last season. And she said, you sided with everyone else. You didn't side with me. And she said, Jennifer, I just think we have two different definitions of what friendships are, what friends are. We don't have to be friends, this and that. You heard that, everybody? You heard that? Jennifer. You heard that? She doesn't want to be friends. We've never been friends. I was like, oh, shit. Here's Bill. Okay, come on. Bill's trying to get her to settle down. Just sleep on it. She told him, you stop telling me to be quiet. Stop telling me to shush. Baby, I think Bill and Jennifer are going to give us a show. Baby, when they showed those clips from the entire season and Bill was crawling on the floor, I was like, what is going on with them? I don't know what's going on with them, but we're going to see, child. She was like, yeah, you're right. We're not the same people. I'm nice and you're not. That's what Jennifer said to Dolores. And she started walking away, talking cash money shit. So she's talking shit. She getting ready to get her shit to leave. She was like, did everybody get that? We're not friends. She's phony, two-faced. She calling her all kind of shit, right? She was just cussing her out at the end of the episode. So she said, first she said Dolores looked like an old handbag. She was like, then she called her a see you next Tuesday. Because remember, what's her name called her a see you next Tuesday at the reunion? So she was like, I learned that from you. As this is how she walking out the door. Baby, when she was trying to walk out the door, she told Bill to stop telling her to be quiet because he was like, he's drunk. They had already, everybody's been drinking. I was like, I don't know why Jennifer does. She's always leaving. I don't know why she does that. For just whatever. And she walking around. She broke her toe. So she's walking around with one boot on and one high heel shoe. You heard that? We're not friends. We've never been friends. You heard that? So I don't know how that's going to go between her and Teresa. Because her and Teresa are close. It seems to be because she's in her wedding. They're traveling together. You know, we think they're close, but we don't know. We don't know. But I assume if Teresa had you in her wedding, she considers you close to her and close as a friend. So, and then we know that Dolores and Teresa have been friends since high school. So it's like, that's why this show is so good. It's the long ass friendships for me, and the fact that everybody knows each other, like all the connections to everybody, like Rachel and Brittany. So Rachel is a new housewife, but she knows Frank's girlfriend now because they used to train together. So everybody knows each other. When I tell you, that is the one thing that I love about New Jersey is everybody knows each other. Everybody fucking know. They like literally know each other, and they live in small towns. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on in Potomac. They need to get that shit together. This right here, the dynamics here, I love it. All these women, but the one thing that I'm a little anxious about is all of the cameras and like all of the conversations happening at the same time. It's a mess, but I love it. So shout out to New Jersey. That was the end of the episode. They leave. She calls Dolores a see you next Tuesday and told her, I learned that word from you, babe. She used the Merriam-Webster line again. No more Jennifer. No more Merriam-Webster. What else was happening in that moment? It was so much. And she was like, you can learn a lot from me. And she was like, you can learn some other things from me too. And then she called it, when she called her a see you next Tuesday, go back and watch it because Melissa Gorga is in the back. She talking about, what did she just say? What did she just say? Girl, it's a mess. It's a mess. Margaret's house is nice. Y'all see Margaret's house? I love Margaret's house. Anyways, y'all, that was the end of the episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm so glad Jersey is back. I'm so glad Potomac is over. We got 2 episodes for Potomac. I'm glad Jersey is back. It seems like it's going to be a hoot. Okay. Let me know what y'all think of the episode. Do you agree that that's the conflict between Jennifer and Dolores? Is that Dolores is just like, don't cry. One of those women like you, all that crying shit, get that crying shit out of here. And Jennifer is more sensitive, and I don't think that she gets what she needs from Dolores in her sensitivity. I truly believe that that's the dynamic, and it's just not going to mesh well. Which is ironic that her and Teresa are cool because Teresa and Dolores are cut from the same cloth in that way. Like, we don't do that crying for what, girl? We're not doing all that crying stuff. Even though Teresa was kind of tearing up, I think because she brought her mother up. With Margaret. So what do you think about Margaret and Teresa? Do you think they're going to be cool with each other? Again, Melissa and Joe Gorga, y'all going to have to come up with a new storyline. That's it. This is it. This is the last season of Melissa and Joe and Teresa being in conflict, and Melissa acting like they want to repair things, but Teresa's acting one way. Just forget it. I think the relationship will, you know what? I don't think the relationship would mend if the Gorgas got off the show. I just don't think Teresa likes Melissa, and that's just it. So anyways, y'all take care of each other, protect your energy. Let me know what you think. Let's get down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Peace.